Greetings everyone and welcome back to another episode in my free-to-play series. I'm here on my Gorn Engineer and this is the end of the 5th week of this account and we're trying to hit 100,000 DPS on an ISA pug. And I just wanted to say that I do have some good stuff to show you this week. We are going to go do an ISA, but it's not quite as exciting as I had hoped it would be. The consensus last week was that I should be able to sell the attack pattern Delta Prime trait I got from the anniversary giveaways. And although I couldn't do it initially because I didn't have my EC cap raised, if you go into the store here, if you got a brand new account, you're a silver player, whatever they're calling it now, or if they're still calling it that, I don't know, you are not able to have more than 15 million energy credits. So I had to save up some Zen using the dilithium exchange. It cost quite a bit. If you just take a look at the prices are about this much. So in order to get 500 Zen, I had to save up about this much dilithium this week from doing Admiralty and things like that. And this is kind of a down week for Admiralty, so it was really hard. I had to use a lot of contraband turn-ins and things to get there. I just got there this morning. I just was able to buy this a few minutes ago, actually. And the price for the attack pattern Delta Prime trait has absolutely cratered. It was about 90 million last week, if you saw in the last video. Now I posted it for 50 million. Even if it's sold right this second, I'm actually running out of time because maintenance is going to be in 40 minutes, and this is the only time I'm going to be able to record today. So I was really hoping I'd be able to buy some personal space traits in this video and equip them and go do the ISA with them, but that looks like that's not going to happen, but it would definitely happen next week. I'm not going to get as much money for the trait as I thought, but I will get a lot of money for it, a lot of energy credits. I will be able to buy some of the traits on my wish list. We're going to talk about that in the strategy and tactics section. But just wanted to say that I was able to get my EC cap increased, so that's exciting. We have a few more things to talk about, so it is still going to be a good episode. But let's go ahead and move on to the next section. Okay, moving on to the progress report. There's no new gear this week. We had a really big gear week last week, so that's no surprise. We got our 2 epic items still, very nice. Most of our stuff is Mark 15 now. So really not much to talk about here, but we could move on. We could talk about endeavors, and I've gotten a little bit lucky. I'm up to rank 13 now. We got more crit chance, so we're at 1.5% crit chance and 6% crit severity, so that's very nice. And then in terms of traits, we actually have a big boost here as well because we were moving down our intelligence tree very slowly. We were able to pick these up, and we got space flanking 1 and space flanking 2. Now, flanking was already important for us because we're flying a raider. However, we with space flanking 3, we get an extra 10% bonus damage on top of our regular flanking damage from flying a raider. So for hitting a rear arc, so that's very nice. In addition, we also have shoddy engineering, 15% crit severity when hitting an enemy's rear arc, and unprotected systems. This little grouping right here really is the main reason to choose Intel. You probably hear myself and a lot of other YouTubers say, go with Intel. If you don't have a specific reason for using something else, go with Intel. Well, this is why. 5% crit chance, 15% crit severity, 10% bonus all damage. That is Cat 2 damage. When you are flanking, makes it very important to flank, so we're really going to have to do our best to get into those flanking positions today. So this is going to be a pretty sizable boost, and next week well, let's not talk about next week yet. Let's move on with the progress report. So traits, nothing new here, unfortunately. I was hoping I'd be able to get some more to talk about, but we don't have it right now. This is all, nothing's new here. But reputation, so we got a few 5s now. Omega, Nukara, and Iconian have all hit tier 5. That's because they're sponsored from the Jem'Hadar alts. And 2 of them, the Iconian one, gives us deploy sensor interference platform, and that's pretty nice. And then also, the Nukara one has given us the refracting Tetrion Cascade. So those are a couple more boosts that we've gotten. And all of our 3s are still 3s, but you can see they're very close. If you look at here, it's almost filled up. It's we need 60,000. We currently have 55,000, so that's going to go pretty quickly. These are all going to hit 4 next week. So we got a little boost this week. We're going to get more boosts next week. Okay, So we got our active reputation traits, our intel boosts, and our endeavors. That's about all I have for the progress report this week, so let's get on to the next section. Okay, strategy and tactics. This is a big section this week because I really want to talk about what's going to be happening in the next week and the weeks to follow. Like I said, we were planning on selling that trait and buying the personal space traits with that money. I was hoping to do it in this episode, but since I couldn't, let's talk about the traits I'm going to buy. My original wish list was to get 6 personal space traits with that money. That's when I thought I was going to get 90 million. Now that it looks like I'm going to get 50 million or less, I have cut down my list. My original wish list was repair crews, context is for kings, Terran targeting systems, adaptive offense, that's the new one from the Borg lockbox, galvanized not musicians, I keep saying that, galvanized munitions, that gives you a shield heal when you're using cannons, an inspirational leader, which is just an all-around buff because it gives you skill points. I'm cutting galvanized munitions and inspirational leader from my wish list, so I'm going to narrow it down to those 4. Repair crews, context is for kings, those are the highest priority because they're going to help me not blow up. Not blowing up means I'm more time actively in combat, which means my DPS is higher. Then Terran targeting systems and adaptive offense, those are just straight crit chance and crit severity boosts, but those are still very important. So those are the 4 big wish list items. Hopefully we'll have those next week. The trait will sell, I'll get the money, and then we'll get them. Okay, next thing. We got a reinforcement beacon. I'm still on the hunt for a reinforcement beacon that isn't absolute garbage. We all know that fleet support is amazing, and there seems to be no competition, but when I was, let's take a look here, we got the Fleet Scimitar Reinforcements. This costs 5,000 fleet credits, and it's available from the Fleet Embassy, and it's, we're going to give it a try. It summons a scimitar, maybe it won't be trash, so we're going to go ahead and try that. We will, of course, try to do fleet support if we can, just never seem to be able to, but if we can, we're definitely going to do fleet support. Okay, other thing, Superior Romulan Operative and Romulan Operative, we can get 1 each from the Romulan Embassy. Actually, we're at the Romulan Embassy right now. You can get a green one that gives you regular Romulan Operative, and actually, I just bought him a few minutes ago. I have him right here. You can see he has the Romulan Operative trait, but I haven't had time, and since the servers are coming down soon, I don't have time to go get him kitted out to replace the Nausicaan I have in there now. But we're also going to get the blue version. I didn't have enough money to buy it this week. Maybe we will by next week. He has Superior Romulan Operative, which is a little bit better, a little bit more crit chance, a little bit more crit severity. So we're going to be working on that, getting those bridge officers that give us the crit chance and crit severity. What else? Next week, we should be able to get the competitive engines. That's very exciting. We come back to our reputations, and we come down to competitive. We got 3 widgets right now. We're going to get a couple of more. I'm going to do the random TFOs. They give you guaranteed marks. They give you a pretty substantial amount. And so the big project next week is going to be grinding out our competitive engines. So that's going to help us quite a bit as well. Going to buy those traits. Another thing is, because all of our reputations are going to be going to tier 4, we're going to be getting a couple of new traits to play with in that regard as well. We're going to be able to get access to Tyler's duality. It's not going to be useful on this ship. I'm probably not going to use this on this ship, but maybe on our next ship. That's going to give us crit chance based on our hull capacity. Another option for us once we hit tier 4 next week is going to be Gamma. We're going to be able to get magnified firepower, and that's just a straight up damage boost, 5% weapon damage, so that's going to be nice as well. So we're going to have access to those things next week as well. We're also going to have more Admiralty dilithium to play with. This week was kind of an off week. Only one of my alts has hit his second 10 for 10 this week, so it's been real light on dilithium. Next week, that shouldn't be the case. They should all hit their second 10 for 10. Going to be a little bit more flush with resources next week. So next week is going to be a really big one. But the big boost we have today, just to go over it one more time, we're going to try this new reinforcement beacon. We've got our new flanking skills from the intel tree. That's huge. Those are really the biggest things we have going for us this week, but that's okay. So we're going to go into the ISA, and I'll see you there in a second. Okay, we made it into our ISA. Thankfully, it popped right away because we don't have a lot of time. The servers are going to come down, like I said. Normally, in that situation, I would just record the rest of the video later when the servers come back up, but I can't do that today. I have other obligations, so this is the only recording time I have for today. We do have a few seconds here to chat, so I think... Oh, our reinforcement beacon thing came off of here again. Let's try and get that back on there. Do I have to have it in a slot? I don't know. We need to get this figured out because they're starting really soon. Is this something that has to be in here? I don't know. I don't see it on here. It's disappointing. I was hoping to use that. Why is it not in my bar anymore? Damn it, game. Why do you do this to me? We're doing terrible. Our weapons aren't pointing at anything. Someone else in the group has huge DPS. This is a total wash. This is complete garbage. We're completely fucked. We got all turned around. Our thing isn't on our bar. We got another high DPS person in here killing everything. We died. This is a total unmitigated disaster. I mean, it's going to be fine. We're going to finish the queue and everything. That's going to be nice, but our DPS is just going to be dog shit. I'm sure they're already done with that side. We have someone very strong in the group. It's very evident. I'm actually demoralized right now. Oh, the beacon thing showed back up again, just miraculously. But for some reason it's not letting me click on it. I don't know why. Why won't it let me use it? It's right here, but I can't click on it. Well, that was about the most disappointing thing I can possibly imagine. This parse is going to be utterly disappointing this week, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. Okay, and here we are at the parse, and there's some good news and some bad news. There's definitely a silver lining to this. Obviously, if you watch the ISA, you'll know how poorly it went. We died right at the beginning, and we died again several times, and we were just completely out of the rhythm. We were not in tune with the rest of the group. We had a couple high DPS people in here, and we got out of sync with everyone, and it was just nothing went to plan. Everything went horribly. Our reinforcement thing disappeared from our bar, and then it showed up again. We couldn't click on it. It was just really bad. It was about as bad a run as I can possibly imagine in terms of execution for us. But despite that, and despite the fact that our DPS was low, it was only 28. However, there are some silver linings in this parse. So if we pull ourselves out here, actually, let's take a look at the whole team. Let's look at the chart. And you can see here that there's a big gap here. That's pretty much when everyone went from the first group over to the left transformer. But when you take a look at ours, you can see our gap is much bigger, and we have another big gap over here on the side. That's because we kept dying. And so that helps account for our low DPS quite a bit. So I don't feel so bad about a 28. It's not like we were at peak performance and 28 was all we could do. This explains it right here. It's like you get zeros on an answer on a test. It really brings your score down. That's what happens. That's why you need speed. That's why we're going to get the competitive engines next week. We need to make sure that we're not dying and that we are there and we're present and we're at the enemies at all times. If you die, that takes a huge amount of time out of your parse. If you're slow, it takes time out of your parse. Those are all seconds that your damage is 0, so that really hurt us this week. But that's not the only thing we can look at on here. Our spike here, we had a spike here that was over 200. That's a new high. That suggests that our damage output is higher than it's ever been. Also, we take a look at our crit chance. Our crit chance is 38%. That's also a new high. So we're doing very good. We got a 38% crit chance, nearly 39%. We got a new high in terms of spike damage. And I think that if that run had gone well, If we hadn't died, if we had managed to stay with the group, if we hadn't gotten out of the rhythm, out of the flow of the thing, our DPS would have been much, much higher, and we definitely would have shattered our record last week. So I'm not too angry. I'm disappointed at how poorly that run went, but I do see silver linings in the data. So I am looking forward to next week. We're going to have even more powerful stuff on our build next week. We talked about that already. Hopefully the run next week will go much smoother. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them below. And have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.